Welcome back to DataShark Academy. In this part of the course, we will build a standalone Kafka producer application and also a standalone Kafka consumer application. So far, we had been using console producer and consumer, which works great, no doubt. But in real production environments, it's better to use standalone applications because those applications can work individually without user interaction. Also, you can automate a standalone application, but you cannot do that on the console producer or consumer. Moreover, you can package these applications and run on different clusters. So let's create our own standalone Kafka producer application first, and then we will look into creating Kafka consumer. Okay. So for this exercise, I will be using IntelliJ IDE. You can use Eclipse or any other IDE that you are comfortable with. If you are interested in using IntelliJ, then you can download it by searching on the Google as this IntelliJ download and go to the first link from jetbrains.com. On this website, go with the community edition and download it on your computer. Okay. Once you have this downloaded, you will get a screen like this, and here you can create a new project. Okay. I already have a project created for Kafka Producer, but let me show you how to create a new project in IntelliJ. So you go to the File menu, click on it, and then click New Project. You need to choose the Maven here on the left hand side, and it will load all the archetype list. So give it a minute. So while this is being loaded, make sure that you have Java 8 installed on your computer, and that's what is selected here because this will be needed for our application. Okay, so once you have this selected and you will see all these archetypes here, you don't need to worry about these. Just click on the next. Here you will give a group ID and artifact ID. This is required for your Maven POM file, and we can use something like DataShark Academy. It can be anything Kafka application. Okay, and then click next. Project name, that will be the name of your project and the location where you want to store it. Okay, once you have this, just click on finish and it will create an application for you here on the left hand side. I already have it and it's called Kafka Custom Producer. Okay, and this is the directory structure which is provided by IntelliJ. So I want you to go to source folder, click on it, go to main, then Java, and under it create a new package, okay, for your application. And you can create a package by right clicking on Java, click new, go to package and give a name to your package. Okay, it can be anything that you like. So for me, I have used datashark.academy.kafka. Okay, so once you have that package, click on it, then select new and Java class. So this is how you will create a new Java class here. And in my case, I have called this class as Kafka Auto Producer. You can name it whatever you like, okay? And just make sure that it's a class type here and click OK. And it will create a new file here. Okay, so once you have this file, so you'll get a blank file here. Okay, before I go through this code with you, let me show you the POM file. Okay, if you go on this file, so this will also have some basic information. You will get this thing already populated, and by the way, group ID, artifact and version are coming from the inputs that you provided while creating the project. Okay, now here you see dependencies. So basically what I'm saying here is that my project needs all these jars. Okay, so the first and the most important one is the Kafka client, and you can get the version number and this from following URL. If you go on this URL, copy paste. If you go onto this URL, this is Kafka documentation, and we are under producer API. And here it is asking you to add following in your Maven dependency, and that's what I have done. Okay, so going back to our IntelliJ. All right. Next is for the log4j. It's not really needed. If you want to add it, add it. If you don't, that's also okay. The last one is the build. This is also important because we want to build a jar file with all the dependencies in it. And I also wanted to create a manifest file, and this is how it is done. And I want to specify the name of the class. This is my main class. Okay. So if you go to the Java file, this is the name of the main class and it is under this package. So make sure that this has the full path to your package and the class name. So this is how you will create the POM file. Now go back to the class. Okay. So here we have few imports and I'll explain you while we look at the code. Okay. So first thing is we are creating a main function here. That's the entry point for your Java application. And the first two lines are basically I'm reading an input from the user because I want this code to run on any machine, not just my SDP sandbox, but even on Mac, you can run this. And the user will provide a topic name and also the server. This is the bootstrap server that will be given by the user as the input. So I'll get these two inputs. Then I'm creating a new properties object. This is important for a Kafka application. So once you create this, you need to specify some properties in order for your producer to work. And there are some basic properties that you must have. And you can get the list of all properties from this URL. So let me open this. All right, so here we have producer configurations that are provided by Kafka. And there are many configurations that you can do. And it has all the documentation explaining you what each configuration value means. Okay. We don't need to use all of them for this simple example. So what I need at the minimum is the bootstrap server name. That will be my sandbox and port will be 9092. So I'm also setting the acknowledgement to all. As you can see here in the documentation also, we have a configuration called acknowledgements, and here all means, let me go there. So acknowledgement equal to all. This means that the leader will wait for the full set of in-sync replicas to acknowledge the record. So as you learned in the course previously, that if you set this value to all, it means that we are ensuring there is no data loss and it is being copied on all the replicas as well as the leader node. Okay, so this is what I am doing in this application. Although it's not needed for this simple project, but in production it will be a good idea. Then you need to set these two other properties, key serializer and value serializer. And for us, both of them are string type. All right, so moving on to producer. So we'll create a new producer object and we'll use the key as string and value as string. That's why you see string here, because the first one is key and the second parameter is the value. And we are using the properties object that we defined here. All right. Then we are creating two local variables for generating some random message for our publishing. Okay. So next we have a loop. And in this loop, basically we are creating 10 different messages. Each of the message will have a value, something like value is and the number. And this number varies from 100 to 1000. So it will be like 100, 200, 300, 400, something like that. Okay. Then we are creating a producer record that we can send to the topic. Okay. And this record will be sent to the topic that user provides here in the inputs. And the key will be the number that is generated in the loop. So it will be like 100, 200, 300, 400. And value will be this whole string. This will be something like value is 100, value is 200, something like that. So we're creating this record. Okay. It is not published yet. Then I'm printing this on the screen. So just we know while running it that the message is being created. And finally, I'm sending it to the producer using send API and the record as the parameter. Okay. Finally, I want to shut down the producer after these 10 messages are sent. The producer will be closed automatically here. Okay, now once you have all this, what we need to do is we need to build this. Okay, in order to build this application, we will click on this menu build and go to build artifacts and select build. So down here you will see the build is running now. So give it few seconds, it will give you a message that jar file is created successfully. Okay, now it's building, it's finishing. All right, so here you see a message compilation completed successfully with 3 warnings. So that's okay. Now we have our jar file created, and if you go to this out folder, you should see it here. Okay, this is the file that is being created by compiling the project. Okay, so this has all the code and every dependency in it. Now we need to run this on the cluster. So I'll open the terminal. Okay, and I have two tabs here, producer and consumer. We'll use producer in this chapter and consumer in the next chapter. So if you are using moba.xterm, you can upload your jar to your sandbox like this. On the left hand side, you'll see an arrow, an up arrow like this. Click on it and go to the project. Okay, so go to the location where jar is created and click on it. So this will be uploaded here. All right, so now our jar is loaded here. Next, what I need to do is I need to make sure that Kafka and Zookeeper are running before I start the producer here. Okay, so let me go and open the Ambari. All right, so in my case, Kafka is running and Zookeeper is also up and running. So I'm good here. Let me go ahead and run this application. Okay, so the way to run this is go to the directory where it is copied. It's in the same directory here. So I'm going to do Java minus jar and the jar name. Okay, and remember we have to provide two inputs. Okay, let's do this first. Let's create a topic. So let's go to the location where Kafka is installed. Okay, and we'll create a new Kafka topic. So this we have done in previous exercises also. So if you want to revisit it, make sure that you go ahead and look at those videos again. So replication factor is 1 and partitions, let's put it 2, and the topic name will be, I'll call this auto topic. Okay, all right, so the topic is created. Now let's start our custom producer. Okay, so the topic name is auto topic and the server is this one. All right, enter. All right, so as you see, it has published 10 messages already to the topic. Okay, ignore this error. But here you can see that our code ran successfully and it has sent 10 messages to the topic. But we have not read it. Okay, we will read these messages from the topic using our custom consumer that we will create in the next lecture. Okay, so I'll see you in the next class.